Hey everybody, Pole Position RC here again, and we're continuing with the build of the MF-01X Tamiya VW Beetle Rally Mini. So in the last steps, we finished up to step 15, so we're on step 16 now. And remember that in one of the earlier steps, we figured out from the body instructions here in step 1 that this is just an example, but this particular body that we're working with is a long wheelbase, and we're working on a high ride height configuration because it's a rally car, of course. So step 16, there's 3 different step 16s basically. So there's one for the short wheelbase, and there's one for the medium wheelbase, and there's one for the long wheelbase. And basically it involves adding various combinations of these extensions. So you can see, let's see here. So basically, if I can get this correct, these pieces here in the middle on this B part sprue with these circle indentations, those go in there in the chassis automatically. So we'll just as an example, let's clip this off. I've gone to a little bit tighter, a little bit of a tighter angle on the camera, just for ease of doing stuff sake. So that's the middle piece that gets attached, and this goes in no matter what wheelbase you're working with. So this is pretty cool, I think, this modular sort of thing, because there's basically 3 different lengths of drive shaft, and the drive shaft connects these bevel gears here and here, okay? And where's our drive shaft? Where's our drive shaft? So again, this is the long drive shaft that comes with the VW Beetle kit. So you can buy different length aluminum drive shafts. This is obviously a steel one. It's a bit heavy, but you know, I'm not worried about the weight or anything. So you've got these are your drive shafts there, and you can see that the end of it fits right in there, and I believe there's going to be a bearing there and a flange bearing there, and one of these white fiber reinforced gears goes on the end, and there's going to be a pin. I'm just guessing, but I'm pretty sure that this is what's going to happen. Yeah, so that goes in there, and then the same, we've got 2 of these gears, of course, and that goes in there. So the same, we've got 2 screws at each end. Okay, so this is the middle. So no matter what wheelbase that you're working with, that goes on there. You got 2 screws there. Oops. Of course, it's not screwed together. This is just an example. 2 screws here as well, and then again 2 more screws on either side. That's your short wheelbase. Okay, and then for your medium wheelbase, you add these 2 pieces, which are another 2 screws on either side. And for the long wheelbase, you add just this piece here. So you've got your medium, or sorry, your short there, your medium, and your long. So we're going to cut these off here to continue step 16. That's B, 8, and 9. And you can see I found my side cutters, or my sprue cutters, clippers, whatever you want to call them. I don't use the Tamiya ones, I use these ones. These are really good. Zuron is the name of them, and these are the 410 micro shears, you can see there. Okay, so I really like those. One of my favorite tools. Okay, so we've got, this is actually more than, you've got 2 screws holding each of these sort of hollow pieces together. So those will be a bunch of these M3x8s. 3x10s. And one thing I haven't gone over yet is These actually might be PH screws, but these are JIS screwdrivers, which are what the Tamiya guys use basically. So anyway, right, so we're back to screwing things together. So the rest of the build, I'm saying, hopefully, I think is going to go kind of quickly. I do need to find myself a receiver and radio set. I think I've got one. I don't know if it still works. It's just a cheap computer radio. And now in my mind, this is not, you know, I'm not racing this. This is just for fun. So it's just purely going to be just a, whoops, that is a bit off center somehow. How did that get off center? I'm tightening these too much or something. Yeah, the other one's off center too. Okay, so something to watch out for there. You see that I've tightened both the screws down, but it's quite wonky. So loosen the screws and then tighten them down gently. And don't make them too tight. And then they just slide and key together, hopefully, it says. Maybe I need to loosen these up first. Nope, I'm doing them backwards. These need to go over that. All right. Okay, so there is a direction that they're meant to face. Okay. So pay attention to the direction of those. If it doesn't seem like they're going to go together, just pay attention to the direction. And then 2 more screws on either side. I'm wondering if I'm hoping there's going to be space for a driver figure inside the body, because that will be quite cool, I think. But we'll have to see once we get everything together. Okay, so I need 8 more screws. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, and now so one of my favorite parts of building a car is when seeing all the pieces start to come together as a kit. As a, you know, to make it look like a complete car. That just, to me, that just really is when it starts to be really, really fun to see everything come together. So once we're starting to see the chassis come together, obviously, and once we've got the suspension pieces, and then finally the wheels and tires and the body especially go on there, that will be extra cool. Okay, so there we are. There's our long wheelbase Mini. I'm gonna have to probably move the camera again. Still working on how to have the camera set up, so apologies for moving the camera around a little bit if that seems to mess with anything, your viewing enjoyment or whatever. And of course, once these, we've got the 3 screws at this end here, here, and here, holding this front end together. So these are the first screws that are actually coming through and holding the back end tightly together. So now the chassis monocoque is going to feel pretty rigid. I mean, obviously we don't have any shocks on there. So I'm just going to reposition the camera real quick. Okay, hopefully that works better. You can definitely see everything. I can kind of see the screen. So we'll go with this for a little while. We might move it to the other side just because of the way this screen is set up on my little camera. So there we are. There's the chassis complete. And now, I swear I didn't look at this previously, but there is the instructions on building the drive shaft right there. So like, as I said, we've got ball bearings and the cross pin, and we have some little spacers and stuff. So let me see if I can find those spacers. I think these are the spacers. Not a whole lot to them. Okay, so we've got, there's the pins. I'm not sure those are the spacers because B2. So these will be off of this here. Okay, yeah. So we need 1, 2, yeah. So we need all 4 of them that are present. And again, we're just nicely just clipping these off. Because you can see that side cutter makes short work of actually clipping off and leaving a nice nice finish. So these must be for the front shocks, I guess, or maybe for the, yeah, they must be for the front shocks. Don't need those. I'm curious what those are there. We'll find out soon enough. Where's that thing here? Okay. Right, so we've got let's do from one end here. There's the other small bag of bearings. BB, yeah, okay, so that'll be these unflanged, the bearing, I was just checking to see what bearings actually go on there, and they are the unflanged bearings that go next. And then the pins. The nice thing about using the grease and the pins is that you can, the grease kind of like helps hold, it acts as a little bit like a glue to hold the pins in place, and also helps make sure that those bearings aren't just gonna fall off. So you can see here, watch, boom. See, stops the bearings from falling off and rolling off into the nether regions of your workshop. And same thing with the cross pins. They're just kind of held in place, not perfectly, but you know, just enough. Okay, so now we've got these pieces, and then the other. I'm thinking those are meant to be, there's got to be something for these flanges. It must be these other ones, because they're the Tamiya parts set for the bearings. This is the official Tamiya set. And there's only one place that these bearings are going to fit, and that's on the end of these shafts. And there's no room for the flanged bearing on the inside here. So I'm pretty sure the flanged bearing goes on the very ends of the drive shaft here. So sorry for the silence. I'm trying to just think about what goes where, because for whatever reason, I know it's the large end of the flange of these plastic spacers goes on, not the small end. So I need to reverse this one. Okay. And now these other two bearings. I could be wrong, and I may need to take this apart, but I'm pretty sure I got this right here. Oops, nope, this way. And again, that grease is just acting as a little bit of a glue to hold things in place. So you can see there one of the sort of a danger point, I suppose. This is how the plastic spacers are supposed to fit. So basically, from each end of the drive shaft, the large side of the larger diameter of the flange faces to the inside. But I'm pretty sure the same happens with the bearing on the end. But we'll find out in a moment when I go to fit this in place. Okay, so A6, we need two of those. And that is these pieces. Back to the gray chassis pieces. So this was, yeah, they're both A6. Okay, so a couple more, well, 4 more 3x10 screws. Okay, so now this is where we see if I was right or wrong. I think the flange bearing goes on the inside, so you can see there if you're fitting the bearing set on the drive shaft, you can see where this flange bearing is meant to go here. So I need to take this apart and just slightly rework it. So not a biggie, nothing's glued or screwed in place or anything yet, so not a big deal, but very slightly annoying. So I'm going to test fit this first, because I need to be sure. So I think this is the way it's going to go. It looks like if you use the bearing set, you don't use this plastic piece there because there's just no space for it. So you can see that plastic spacer, there's just no point to have it. There's no way it's going to fit anywhere. Right, okay, so a little weird. Would be nice to have that information passed on, but it's okay. There's no damage or anything. It's fine. So we're going to take the spacer off from this end. Put the small diameter facing to the inside on the bearing, and then the cross pin, and then that, and then the spacer, and then the other bearing. Okay, and then we can and then we'll see if that fits, and it does. So you can see there, you see how that the bearing fits. Okay. Okay, so now we need to get some grease on these gears. So again, not a gigantic amount. There's already grease on the other gears inside. So we don't need to go crazy. Just make sure we get enough that's going to coat all of the gears. Let's see. So this is the grease that was already on the gears from before. So it does remind me I did want to get grease on the gears, and because there's no plastic sort of shield holding these in place now, I want to make sure that there's grease on these gears to basically seal the transmission at least. Okay, so we're ready to put this in, well, semi-permanently anyway, and we've got the parts to hold in the gears. Just want to get everything in place first. Okay, so that's one side in. Or one end, I should say. Okay, so there's our drivetrain. The drivetrain's complete except for the drive shafts that are going to come out at some point. All right, the rear arms are B. No, I was looking at them. Was I looking at them previously? No. Oh, no, sorry, C. The black. Okay. so step 19. C19 and C11. And 11. This is just going to be one of the arms. So we're building this pair here, if you can see that. So we're pushing these together. So one of the more flexible plastic pieces. Okay. Now one of the things it says here is to note the direction, so you make sure that you've got these matched up. You got this this little mark here. So that's either going to be up or down. I don't know. Where's the other piece? So, and again, 19 and 11. So I don't even know why. Where's these are identical pieces, aren't they? Okay, so again, we're going to have that facing up and that one facing up. There we go. So basically we're building, they're the same parts, but they're going to be mirror images of each other. Okay, so there's our, is that right? Oh, no, my bad. They're the marks, the same marks on both sides. But as long as you have mirror image pieces like that, those are your rear arms. Okay, rear upper arms. We're going to finish on these. I think we're opening part C because, yes, or bag C. Yes, because we've got parts here. Got screw pins. Where's our shafts? So I'm just going to finish off with these parts to make these here, and that will be the end of this series, or this video. I think we're quite a ways from finishing the series so far. But we're going to get these upper arms built, and come back in the next video. So I'm going to go ahead and end this particular one here, because this is, you know, like I said, about the tedious nature of some of the kit building. Not my favorite bits, doing these parts right here, but it has to be done, and don't have turnbuckle links, so I'm just building this pretty much mostly stock, except for the bearings. And so we're going to leave it here. So hopefully you have enjoyed, you know, watching the video, seeing the car come together. Please be sure to check out the rest of the series. There's well, the entire rest of the car to build, and also going to have a little action video, hopefully at the end of it. So yeah, for this video anyway, that's about it for this one. If you've enjoyed the series so far, please subscribe down there for more of the same, and don't forget to like the video. Check us out at polepositionrc.com, and we're on Facebook and Instagram under the same name, Pole Position RC Gear. So that's it. We'll see you in the next video, and thank you very much for watching.